Now, welcome to the webinar. Tonight we're going to be covering the Guru-focused advanced features. Now, a lot of you are no doubt familiar with looking at the 10-year financials, hopefully the GuruFocus.com interactive charts, and a lot of the great analytical data that we have available both for free and paid members on the website. But we've recently developed a couple of new advanced features for kind of what we call our power users, and those are people that are doing very in-depth analytics, generally institutional investors or just very advanced individual investors, and we want to show you some of those tools tonight if they are something that interests you and you want to put to work in your portfolio. So let's go ahead and go to the website, and I'm already logged in here. And some of these tools I'm going to show you can be found. These are a component of the Premium Plus membership, and anything that has this little symbol, if you can see it right here, the small orange and blue box, it's a P with a plus symbol next to it. Those are Premium Plus features. We've got an Excel add-in, an API, and some other embedded features within the site that you'll see during normal use of the site. So the kind of first abstraction we'll go ahead and get out of the way is the API. And if you're not familiar with what an API is, you're probably not going to use this. Those of you who understand APIs will probably understand this much better than I will. To be honest, a lot of this is over my head. But essentially what an API is architecture that you can download onto your site, which allows your computers or your website to interact with the GuruFocus data, pull data from the site, and enter it into your own algorithms or models. And if this is something that is of interest to you, I encourage you just to go to this page, read more about the API, where it shows you kind of some of the architecture behind it and the bones behind how this thing works. You can also email Charlie, support@gurufocus.com, if you have questions about this and want to implement it into one of your systems. Now, the second component is this Excel add-in. This is actually really exciting because before I found GuruFocus, I actually purchased spreadsheets that did about what this one does as part of your membership, and they were several $100s, and I think they had a monthly membership fee to them. This is included with the GuruFocus Premium Plus membership. So what you do is download, as a Premium Plus member, of course, this Excel add-in, and there's also a user manual you can download as well that kind of explains it, and it really seamlessly integrates itself into your Microsoft Excel. So I'll show you what that looks like. This is just Excel 2007, and I've downloaded the add-in and installed it. Took all of 30 seconds. Anyone can do it. And here's what I've got now. Now I have this GuruFocus tab at the top of my Excel spreadsheet every time I open it. And when we click on that, it'll allow us to log in. There's a login button, and you're just going to use the exact same login you use on the website. And I'll go ahead and do this off screen for us. And then just click log in, and it welcomes you back. So now you're logged in. You can use Excel as you normally would, or you can jump over to the GuruFocus tab. And on this tab, what it allows you to do is pull data like you would on the website without actually having to go to the website. So let's look at a very basic, what they call an equity screen here. Okay. Let's just say we want to look at General Motors. We put a ticker symbol in, GM. We automatically get a drop-down list to be sure we have the right symbol. And as you can see, there's several stocks that start with GM. There's General Motors traded in other countries. We want the one in the New York Stock Exchange. Click it. Boom. It's right there in our list of selected securities over on the right side of our screen. Now you can actually do multiple ones, but we'll wait for that and just start with a simple one stock list. And now you've got the option to choose which contents you want imported into your Excel spreadsheet. These are essentially, the tabs that you'll normally see on the traditional website. You include a company summary, the 10-year financials, the discount cash flow model. All of this is included in there. and it's up to you to decide which you want to include. So we'll go ahead and do all of them just to show you the features here. And when you select Guru Trades and you select Insiders, you can choose what time period you want to see that information. So I'll just do 3 months. And it's really just that simple. Once you have the data you want to see, click the Finish button down here in the bottom right hand corner, and it's going to create our spreadsheet. Now it does take a second. I mean, it's loading up a lot of data here, and it may be a little bit slower, so I'm broadcasting this, but it won't take but maybe 10 seconds to pull all of this data into our spreadsheet. Now, I did get a question about the Premium Plus, is what global markets are covered. If you're a Premium Plus member, any global market you subscribe to, you'll have all the same information for that region. So as we let this load, you're beginning to see the data you're probably familiar with from the website, right? You're beginning to see the business description that's input there, our valuation tabs across the top. And you see it just takes its time. Okay, there it's all done. So what do we have here? We got all the information that's normally on the site. We got our description. We've got the valuation model that's normally colored at the top of the web page, showing you where the stock lies in relation to these various valuation metrics. We've got all the traditional ratios, or just looks a little bit different. This is the Excel format for those. As we scroll to the right, we see the Guru trades listed here alongside the insider trades, and showing you, again, the last several quarters, what that looks like, the number of trades by new additions, add, holds, etc. The insiders graph, the kind of mustard green bar here is a price chart of the stock. So it's nice, it overlays the price with the buys, which are here in blue, and the sells, which are in red. So you kind of see, oh, they're kind of selling, and it seem to be a lot of sells up here in the $37, $38 price range, and there are more buys down here on the lower end. This isn't a very dramatic example with General Motors, but for a stock that has more insider activity, this would be a little bit more dramatic. Now, below this, we'll see the financial statements. Now notice GM may not have been the best example to use first. There are some holes, as we know the company went bankrupt in 2008, so there's no previous data here for the new General Motors. That's all that traditional data is in there. As we scroll down below it, we've got the discount cash flow model right in here that we're used to seeing on the DCF tab. All the same inputs. Now, on this spreadsheet, you'll notice any box in yellow is something you can adjust. You can change the values of it. Don't try to change, you can try to change the others, but it won't function in the spreadsheet as programmed. So it's automatically putting in the last full year earnings per share for General Motors, $2.15. I think next year's estimate's around $4 or so. So you can come in here, adjust that, maybe adjust the growth rate, adjust your discount rate, and it's going to automatically update these fair value figures. Now below that, we do have some price charts as well. Now, one thing to notice is there are two scales on the vertical side of this chart. Okay, so don't get confused. Notice this one goes from 0 to 45. Then on the right side of the tab, it goes from 0 to 60. You have to look at what you are plotting here. So the price of the stock, notice it's first, so it's using this scale over here on the left. When we're looking at some of these others, price to book, price to sales, PE ratio, those are using the scale on the right. Okay, so scale on the left is for the price. In this case, it's blue. And the scale on the right is for our PE ratio, our price to book, and our price to sales ratios here. And you can expand this, you can blow it up. Obviously it's not quite as easy to read as it is on the website because it's an Excel spreadsheet, but you can drag this, you can make it larger, you can make it wider, you can come in here and zoom in on it. You can do any number of you can manipulate this any way you want. Now also of note, you'll see some of these, and if you're used to Excel, you know what this is, but when you see kind of right in here where it's got a bunch of these pound symbols, it looks like this. That is Excel talk for the data doesn't fit in that cell. So you can really easily cure this. Just go to the top, double click between, and it's going to automatically adjust those widths to fit that, or you can just individually drag those over to where you can see the dates. All right, but it's giving you the history here on it's pretty much a daily basis here of the price PE ratio, price to book, price to sales, etc. And below that we have our Guru trade. So this is we chose to see, wanted to see Guru trades at last. I think we chose 3 months. And we're seeing all those listed here. You can organize them by the portfolio date, by the shares, the number of shares outstanding, any of these you want. Notice there's nice, easy drop-down menus above each of the columns. And so you can see the last several Guru trades, whether it was a buy, a sell, a new hold, or anything in between. Sorry about that, I scrolled down. So it's a nice little organization here. Now, below that, we've got the dividend screen here. Again, GM, not a lot of history on this stock, but you can pretty quickly see, and I don't know if you can see it on your screen because it may be shrunken down since we're broadcasting, but it does have a key over here on the right side that labels each of these lines. This is the payout ratio, the dividend per share in blue, and the earnings per share in red. And it's got this information down here below as well. So a lot of information. Again, it's just essentially transforming that web page into an Excel spreadsheet that you can adjust and move yourself. Now, here's my first thought when I saw this. All this information I've got to drag and slide the chart around and go to the right of my screen and down to the bottom. But we've actually fixed that. Well, I didn't say fixed. It was never broken to begin with, but rectified that. Notice these hyperlinks at the top, similar to when you're on the web page of a stock and it's got all those headings. These hyperlink to the areas of the Excel spreadsheet that contain this information. So for instance, I'm going to click financial statements and it immediately brings me down to the financial statements. If I click price charts, it immediately brings me there. Same thing with Guru trades, dividend area, insiders, anything else that's found in this spreadsheet. And the same thing can be said over here on the left side of the screen. Jump to the valuation chart, your ratios, your Guru trades, insiders, all that information. So it's really easy to access the information and navigate within this Excel sheet. And again, anytime any of these don't show you the full text in there, you can drag, manipulate, move this data. So why is it important? Why would you do this over the website? Well, some of you may not. Some of you may say, hey, I'd rather do it on the website. I like it there. It's fine. Some of you want to pull this data, save these spreadsheets, merge multiples together, and kind of manipulate this data as you see fit. And for those kind of power users, this is what becomes very valuable. Now finally on here, on this ratio section, you'll notice these little red arrows on some of the ratio bars here, if you can see that right up there in the corner. Any of those, and this is in any Excel program, if you hover over it, it will give you a pop-out text box that kind of explains that metric. So this one's saying GM's equity to asset is ranked higher than 92% of the 1,019 companies in the automotive industry, or auto sector, excuse me. So these are some of the features just of the basic equity screen that we've done here in the Excel spreadsheets. You can immediately kind of see why this is valuable, right? Maybe you want to have this, you want to save it. You're going to be somewhere, you want to do some research, you're not going to have internet. Instead of saving web pages or screenshotting, you just pull a couple of these, save the spreadsheet, and you can go back at any time and look at your research, look at your notes, look at all the data and analysis for these stocks, right? We're working on fundamental data, reports once a quarter. It's not like this stuff's going to be outdated in a week. Now, on the equity screen, you can also do more than one stock. So to do multiple, let's select Apple here. Notice it showed up in our selected securities. And then let's do maybe Priceline as well. We'll add that in. And we'll just look at maybe the summary, the DCF, and the price chart. We'll just grab a couple of things to show you how this works. So now we have two stocks selected, two selected securities that we want to create one spreadsheet with. So no harder than before, just click finish. Again, give it 20 30 seconds to pull all this data. Yours is going to be faster maybe if you've got higher speed internet and you're not broadcasting to several hundred people, but it is going to take a minute just to pull all of this, because unlike a web page, it has to get all of it up front instead of only when you access those tabs. But what I want you to notice is it's added these stocks to the spreadsheet we already had in tabs. Down here at the bottom of the screen, notice we have one tab for each stock. Now, not only did it keep the GM we were working with, it added one for Apple and one for Priceline. And you could change one of these sheets over here to maybe notes or whatever you wanted to put in there, and kind of create this living document. So now here's all the data for Priceline that we wanted to see. We didn't pull all the 10-year financials. We just got a few of those features there. We've got our price charts for it. We've got the DCF model in here. We've got the history, the valuation, the ratios, some Guru trades, just the tabs we selected to see. And then we switch over to the Apple tab down here at the bottom. Once again, just click this other tab. Nothing happens to the one we're working on. It just jumps us over to the same data for Apple. And then do it again, jumps us over to that GM tab we've got. So it contains all this. Unlike a web page, it's got to reload the information each time you hit a new stock or a new page. That's why it took so long, because it's all there in this spreadsheet. You can unplug the internet and still have all this. Another nice feature, if you build one of these, say you build one out with your portfolio, right? So you add all of your stocks to it. You've got, one tab for maybe each stock you own with notes on it or whatever you may have. You can save that spreadsheet, and then at any time you reopen it, you come up here and you hit this refresh worksheets button. And what that does is goes back out to the web, to the GuruFocus servers, and updates all of that information. If there's been new financials filed, it'll update all of that. If the prices change, it'll update that. Essentially, it repulls all of that data, so you don't lose your spreadsheet, you don't lose what you've put together. So that was kind of interesting. So that's essentially what it does on the individual stock side. Okay, so pretty neat. I think you'll all agree. Lots of buttons in here as well. You can change between quarterly data, annual data, statement in value, statement in percentage, and look through this stuff in different ways. But very, very manipulatable and very customizable. Let me close a couple of these tabs. You can delete these tabs anytime, just like any other spreadsheet. Now what I'm going to do is show you what you can do with the Guru portfolios. So with this, under the Gurus tab, it has, by default, all of the premium Gurus listed here. Okay. Now, I believe I take that back. I'm sorry. It's like the Gurus it's got here by default is your default group. So if you want more to show up, if you're looking here, man, this guy's not on the list. I know we track him on GuruFocus. Add him to your GuruFocus custom, Guru list, and he'll show up in here. But you can do a couple of things. You can look at total Guru trades. So if you just want to, let me remove all these and kind of start fresh, and we can look at, let's look at Ackman, let's look at Mr. Bill Gates, King of Microsoft, Chuck Royce, whoever. You can add a few of these in here, Daniel Loeb, and just see the Guru trades. And all you got to do is hit next, and it's going to populate the field you choose. Now, what it allows you to do is choose what data for those stocks you want shown. So as you notice over here by default, It's got the ticker, the company, the action date, etc., etc. But all these fields in this list over here to the left are addable. And it's a pretty long list. So anything you want to see, you can completely customize how this data is presented just by selecting one, hitting add, and boom, it's now in your selected fields. Click finish. And it's going to show us the recent trades of these gurus we selected. Now, these are all loaded, I believe, horizontally. So once again, we've got hyperlinked buttons over here on the left side that allow us to jump between these different gurus we've chosen. So we're starting here with Bill Ackman. Just showing the last 3 dates. And the stocks he's purchased or added. So we've got Zotis, Valiant, and Activus here, showing a breakdown how many buys, how many hold. In this case, he only bought stocks. The current price, the price range where he bought them, the impact to his portfolio, and then he comments regarding what type of trade it was, whether it's an add and what percentage, if it's a new holding, etc. And then over here to the right, we got Bill Gates, we got Chuck Royce, we've got Daniel Loeb. So they're just listed horizontally, or you can click these buttons on the left side and quickly jump back and forth between them. Now, Chuck Royce is a much more active portfolio. Much more active portfolio. So here the breakdown kind of shows us a little bit more information. We're seeing what percentage of these were additions, what percentage of them were new buys. Let me scroll down here a little bit. Notice the impacts to this portfolio are very, very small percentages. I mean, less than 1/10% for the majority of these. Now we can obviously filter by impact and see the biggest additions he made, being Waddell and Reed, John Wiley, Matrix, etc. down the road. Current price, change from average. This is obviously important because we want to see, did I miss the boat, right? I mean, is this a stock he bought and it's already up 50%, or is it maybe down a little bit from the average and I can get an even better price than Chuck Royce got? But all that's displayed in here. He's got numerous holdings. He keeps an extremely diversified, in my opinion, well overly diversified portfolio, but it's all in here. So let's delete this tab and we'll go back and show you what else we can do with it. Click back at the Guru tab. And that was just Guru Trades. Now, you can also do consensus picks, as you see here at the top, selected by any number of gurus you've selected. Or I like to look at an aggregated guru portfolio. Okay, so let me remove all these, and I'll just add a handful just to show us how we do this. The aggregated portfolio is a really great feature because what it allows us to do is say, okay, these are 10 guys that are guys and women that I really expect are great investors, but I don't want to put too much weight on one of them. So let me see what they're doing as a group. What are they buying? What are they holding as a group? So this is the aggregated portfolio of our chosen gurus. We're just going to look at the top 25 stocks. It's also a drop-down menu if you want to see top 50, 100, 250, or you can even input your own number, I believe. Yeah. All right, so we're going to go to next. Once again, you've got it'll keep the fields we chose last. So this is the list we used last time. For most of you, this is not going to change. But if it does, you can change it any time. And we're going to hit finish. And it will construct, whoops, must have did something wrong there. It will construct a guru portfolio. I don't know what I did to the last one. Sorry, must have been a blip in the radar here. So here's our aggregated portfolio for the gurus we've chosen. Shows the combined weighting of each of those stocks. So immediately we see, well, where are the big ones? The big ones are Bank of America, AIG, huge weight in Berkshire Hathaway, no surprise there. and a pretty decent weight in Wells Fargo Corporation. Now, it also breaks this stuff down a little bit further. So notice we've got a sector distribution graph, which gives us a quick idea of how their funds are being allocated between sectors. So obviously a big chunk of this, all right here, is financial services, showing a lot of value there. It's no surprise most of the value investors in this room have seen a lot of heavy finance portfolios from these large value-based money managers just because the valuations have been cheaper. It also has something called a portfolio constructor, and this is pretty simple in nature. What it does is takes all these stocks, and if you want to delete some, you can, takes all these stocks and allows you to create your own portfolio. So say by default, I think it's got, what is this, $1 million. So let's just say we're doing, let's say $60,000, and we hit enter. Okay. Assuming equal weight, which is 4% per stock, right? 25 stocks times 4% is 100%. This would be roughly the value we contribute to each stock, and this is the number of shares you'd want to purchase based on the current price. Now, unless you've got a really special broker, you usually can't get 7/10 of a share, so you'd round up or down depending on where you see there. So it's a nice way if you're trying to build a portfolio. It'll allow you to do that. You can change these stocks if you want. Maybe it's not going to change in there. And you can also adjust the weights. So, for instance, if I want to up this to 6% and bring this down to maybe 2% to accommodate, we can do that, and it's going to automatically adjust both the adjusted weight value, the total dollar amount I should put to that stock, and also the number of shares to purchase based on that stock's current trading price, or the close, the most recent close. Oops, that's 500%. Now using the yellow box you just saw, what that's going to do is automatically adjust all the others. Okay, so let's go back here before I started messing with these. So now they're all at 4%. Well, you're saying, okay, well, Bank of America, I love that one. All right, so I've got 15% of my portfolio in BAC and I don't want to adjust that. So we're going to do 0.15, hit enter. And here's what it's done. It's automatically jumped your value weighting in that stock to 15%. It's also equally distributed the remaining cash equally among the other stocks. And you can do this for any number of holdings. You can say, well, I want 15% there. I want, let's say, 10% in Citigroup. I love Google. I want, 25% of my portfolio there. And you're automatically getting all these adjusted in accordance. So the remaining ones that you're not manually entering a weight for will be equally allocated among the remaining cash. Now it also does show each of these people, each of the gurus that we've selected, it does show each of their portfolios along with the same sector weighting chart. You can scroll to the right and see each one of these individually if you want to investigate their portfolio. Once again, you can click the hyperlinks on the left side and jump easily between those different portfolios. So nice little feature there. So you can kind of play with this, see how you want to manipulate the data, see all the uses for it. But I just wanted to show you some of the broad strokes of this. Again, showing you the Guru trades, consensus picks, Guru portfolios, their aggregated portfolios, any number of gurus that you can add into this list and view through the spreadsheet. Now again, remember, you have to have them in your default list. So if that means putting every single person we list in your default list so you can use them all in the spreadsheet, so be it. Now finally, you can access your My Portfolios section. If you notice here at the top, there's a My Portfolios button. These are the ones you've built within GuruFocus. And it's going to list them all in here for you. So this is my high yield. This is what I named it, the high yield portfolio, dividend stocks, watch list, book value, etc., etc., etc. You can access all of these and even save them within the Excel spreadsheet. In addition, if you're doing your research, you don't want to go back to the website, you can even create a new portfolio that will remain with your account on the site. So just clicking new, create new portfolio, you can name it, enter the stock separated by a comma, and then choose the view you want and create that portfolio right here. So extremely capable, which you can do all within a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. So any questions about this, kind of how to use it? Again, it's one of those things that you're going to want to play with some. You're going to want to just get in and kind of dig through the features of the spreadsheet and the Excel add-in and kind of how it works. But I think it's an extremely capable tool that can be of a lot of value to you. Again, I'm going to close this. I'm not going to save this. If you wanted to, you could. You can save any number of spreadsheets. You'll always have the GuruFocus tab. Again, you can continue to use this as you normally would. So you can highlight these cells and do any Excel function you choose to it. This is just an add-in. So that's the Excel add-in. Again, you just download it, run it on your computer. It's extremely straightforward. There's also a user manual you can download at a hyperlink below the add-in button. Now let's look at some other of the Premium Plus features. Michael asked, is the template a download to your own Excel program? Will the Google spreadsheet work? Michael, I'm not sure on the Google spreadsheets. This is actually a physical download into your Excel program. So you download it, you run it, and you immediately have that GuruFocus tab on your own personal Excel spreadsheet that you can use at free will. So let's look at some of the other Premium Plus features. As a lot of you probably know, we track the premium gurus that we've been known for. Most of them have a picture in here. You can see Berkowitz, Buffett, obviously, Ron Barron, Yachtman, all these guys listed here. With the addition of Premium Plus, we actually have every single fund that files a 13F, and that is everyone who does investment business in the United States and manages more than $100 million must file a quarterly 13F disclosure filing, and all of those are in here. Now you'll notice the little icons, if you can see this, in your list. The small little P is premium. That means any paid member of GuruFocus can access those. This little one with a plus next to it, these are Premium Plus Gurus. This is the full, absolute, complete, no one left out list. And as we scroll down, you can see it's an extremely long list. I mean, we've gone through several hundred and we're still in the C's, okay? There's over, I think, 4,000 of them inside of here, and you can access each and every one of them with a Premium Plus membership. So you'll begin to see these. If you notice that little icon, you'll notice the Premium Plus feature. So if you begin seeing data that I can't access, you now can if you become a Premium Plus member. We did this out of, again, a lot of our institutional clients that are members of GuruFocus requested more and more people. And they said, I want to see this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this firm, this firm, this firm. And so we just added them all. We added every single public fund there. So you're going to see these in a lot of places. You're going to see this in the aggregated portfolio. You're going to see this as you begin looking at individual Guru portfolios. Several places you'll see that, and they add in just as easy as anyone else. Okay, so I've got my selected gurus over here on the right. There's like 50 hedge fund managers over here. If I want to go to a Premium Plus person, just like any other, check their name, hit the orange arrow box to the right, and they are immediately added into my list. It's nothing special. It's nothing that requires any extra effort on your part. It's just access to additional money managers through GuruFocus.com. And like any other time you've run it, show the aggregated portfolio, similar to what we get through the spreadsheet, but it's here on the website, and we've got the full portfolio. We can filter this by combined weighting, find the largest holdings, Valiant Pharmaceuticals, obviously the largest one here, followed quickly by Actavis and GM, eBay, Apple. eBay probably getting a lot of ownership recently because of the announcement of the PayPal spinoff. Everyone wants a piece of those PayPal shares. You'll probably see eBay get dumped after that happens, but it's just my guess. Let's look at individual stock positions, see how that works there. So if we're looking at, let's just say Apple, it's always an easy one to go to. If we're on the Guru Trades tab, which, right here, along with the 10-year financials, the analysis, the discount cash flow, all that, we're going to go to this we're going to go to the Guru Trades tab, and you'll notice there is a Premium Plus button there as well. I just want you guys to be familiar with what this is when you see it, so you don't think, you're not sure what that is accessing. Now, with any list like this you pull on the website, you've got a couple of options. It will show you the My Gurus, people that are in your list that you've created in your personalized list. You can do anytime. It's got the full premium list of gurus, and then it has the premium plus list. So if we look at the number we're seeing here, notice the total number of records, 792. Okay? Because we are on the premium gurus. Now if we go to premium plus, look at how much more data there is. Went from 762 to over 11,000 records there. So it should give you an idea of how many people we are following. I mean, it's everyone who manages 100 million or more inside of the United States. And of course, you can just look at the My Gurus as well. If you want to look at the people that you've chosen to follow, those you respect, and you see that list is much shorter. In my case, at about 380. Now, Daniel asked in the Excel add-in, can it be used just to look up a single field? In other words, pull in only, return on invested capital for a set of stocks, or is everything downloaded in some form of a template? Daniel, generally it's gonna download any data you choose. So if you want, for instance, one piece of the 10-year financials, it will download all of it. But it is an Excel spreadsheet, so you literally have to just highlight the rows you don't want, right-click and hit delete, and you've got that data, which is why we did this in Excel. So you can manipulate it, maintain only the information you want to see, and then refresh that with a single click of the button from your Excel spreadsheet to update that information. Now you're also going to see this in the real-time buys, right? If we go into the Gurus tab and we go to our RealTime Picks, once again, like anything else, the more gurus you're tracking and following, the more information there's going to be. If I go to just My Gurus here, I've got 48 real-time buys. To give you an idea, I follow about 50 or 60 investment gurus. Now, if we go to the full premium list or the premium plus list, watch how much bigger this number gets. Premium list would probably be around double. Yeah, 98. Premium plus real-time picks, we've got 120. Now, it's not as big of a jump as before. Why is that? Well, we're looking at real-time buys. So real-time buys are anyone that owns 5% or greater of a publicly traded company. When we go from tracking, let's say, 100 gurus to 4,000, we've already got the big guys in a premium list. So some of these may be only managing 200 million, 250 million, 300, something like that. They don't have the funds to pick up a 5% stake. So it wasn't as big of a jump in the real-time buys. When it comes to recent picks or aggregated portfolios or anything else, you're going to see a huge jump in the premium plus. And then once again, you can modify your list of gurus at any time right here off the web page. It's just going to pop right up. You'll quickly see your guru list over here on the right, your default list, and you can add or remove from the full premium or premium plus, depending on your subscription, list over here to the left. You can filter this down by the number of stocks in their portfolio. Some people only like those at old concentrated portfolios. For instance, if someone's holding, in my analysis, more than say, 50, 100 stocks, I'm not really that interested because I don't want to track a fund that holds 2,000 stocks. They're just essentially an index, right? You can do by the total value of assets they have, their turnover ratio, any number of things to populate a list to add into yours. Now there is one other new feature we've recently added, and that is what's called an S&P 500 grid. Some of you have probably heard the term heat map when referring to stock screeners and things. That's essentially what this is, but there's several ways to scan for it. So underneath screeners and tools up here at the top, if you look down the value screen side, third up from the bottom is the S&P 500 grid. And what it's going to show you is any of these settings you choose across the top for the S&P 500 stocks. So notice this grid is colored from bright green down to essentially white, and you'll actually go pink and red as well. It's showing you from, in our instance, what we're looking at, and you just got to look at the bold headings. This is using the My Gurus list, those 50 we looked at, or excuse me, 55. We're looking at buys in the S&P 500 ordered by the number of gurus that bought them. Okay, so the most buys start up here, and it goes essentially like this on down the deal to the fewest buys down here. But you can look at several different features. We can look at how many gurus own the stock. This, if you see the little pop-up there, I'm just hovering over it, so notice there's a little pop-up that comes up. This is Microsoft. It's showing us 27 of my gurus own it. There have been 12 buys, 10 sells. It has a combined weighting of 48% amongst their portfolios. And then it just goes on in descending order. We can look at net buys. The net buys looks at the total number of guru purchases versus sales. So in other words, if 10 funds bought it and 2 funds sold it, it has 8 net buys, right? 10 minus 8. If only 2 bought it and 10 sold it, its net buys is negative 8, right? If you kind of sum them all together. And that's when these numbers get red. And like if you see this box here for Corning, 11 net sells. So 1 bought, 12 sold, combined weighting of 9.3%. So really, really neat. You can filter this down further. You can look at all the premium gurus. You can look at just yours. You can look at the full premium plus list. You can do stocks. You can sort by stocks in the S&P 500, stocks not in the S&P, large cap, mid, small, micro cap. And you can even filter this down by sectors. So say you're looking for a good, transportation stock, for whatever the reason. If you're looking for let's just say a tech stock, you want something in the small cap market that's got some exposure, you want to find it by buys, and I want to filter by the combined weighting. So who's got the most? Oops, it went back to the S&P 500. Here we have as the largest small cap technology stock. Whoops, didn't get back to technology. So I'm looking at buys in the small cap market for technology stock, filtered by combined weighting. The largest one is right here, Vasco Data Security International. 6 buys, combined weighting of 6%. Now, obviously, if I switch to large cap, I'm going to get a larger list. I'm going to get more stocks. And I'm going to get more actions. Microsoft at 25 buys. Micron Technology is showing up everywhere, and I'm running filters as far as what the smart money's buying right now. Apple, Qualcomm, both Google's, IBM, etc., down the list. But this is a really, really neat feature, I think, because it allows you to not only look at the data in a different format in kind of this heat map scenario, but you can really quickly say, give me S&P stocks. I want to see, what the big guys are buying. What are they selling? Give me the net buys by number, and I'll quickly see. Well, the big money for the most part buying EOG, General Motors, Google, Discovery Communications. And they're getting out of Wells Fargo. They're getting out of Pfizer. They're getting out of Home Depot. So we can quickly, really, really quickly find where kind of the quote-unquote smart money is moving. Does that make sense? And just like anything else, it's got a premium button, it's got a My Gurus, and it's got a premium plus. So if you click the premium plus button here, assuming you're a premium plus member, you're going to be looking through what 4,000 gurus are doing versus 100, a few hundred. If you look at the premium, look at a few hundred. If you look at just your list, that may be 5 people, that may be 500. Just depends on your personal settings. Now, this may not be everyone's cup of tea, right? As we mentioned, this webinar is for some of the more advanced features. You may see this and think, ooh, over my head, I don't need to mess with the Excel spreadsheet. I don't need Premium Plus, and that is 100% okay. But for some of you in here, and a lot of you asking a lot of questions over this webinar, you may decide that these tools are worth your dollar, will actually add a lot of value to what you do as an investment advisor or a personal investment specialist. And if that's the case, I encourage you to sign up for Premium Plus and start putting this stuff to use. Look, like anything else, try it out. If you don't like it, you can cancel it. We're not gonna lock you in on a year and refuse to give you your money back. I mean, if you, it's a very easy just to add something to your membership. Try it out. If it's not for you, make an adjustment. Any questions about what we've covered so far? We've kind of gone over the Excel add-in and how to use it both for looking at individual stocks and also Guru portfolios and Guru activity. We quickly went over the API, and I showed you where to find that as well. If you have questions on that, just hover over Screeners and Tools, go to the API page, and it'll give you a lot of information about that API. We looked at the Premium Plus button and how you can find that and what it means in different areas, from aggregated portfolio to the Guru Stock tab and others. We looked at the new S&P 500 grid and this kind of heat map feature and how you can select not only different gurus and different buying and selling activities, but different categories of stocks, different industries, different sectors, and filter that information down that way. Any questions covering the material we went through today? Well, I generally like to leave the last 5 to 10 minutes of the presentation to answer Q&A from you guys. We don't have a lot of questions today, so that's fine. If you do have questions you forgot to mention in the webinar you come up with later, always feel free to shoot us an email at support@GuruFocus.com. I'll be glad to get back to you and answer any question or concern you may have. We definitely appreciate you joining us for this webinar here on GuruFocus.com. And if you have any suggestions for future webinars or maybe features of the website that you'd like covered in the future, please feel free to let us know. We will absolutely take those into consideration. We want to know which areas you want to understand better, you want to know how to use better, and you want to see explored, and kind of give you a kind of overview of those features and how to use them. So thanks again for joining us. We'll see you guys next Tuesday. Invest well, and everyone have a great rest of the week.